Hello, I'm Anthony, back on track with Riversong today, and I'm just starting to get my head around how to go about writing an album. This is the first piece of music on the album, but in the last episode I talked about all the various points of uncertainty, particularly how to end the song, because I knew I wanted it to segue into the next piece of music, but that was a complete unknown whether I was going to put lyrics on it. I've been having a lot more thought about the holistic process of writing an album, and I'm going to parcel all of that stuff up into a new series that's going to track the composition of this album called The River, because that process has only really practically begun this week. I've actually started really thinking about it and kind of making some active decisions. The song itself needs to fit into that context, and this is where things are going to start getting a little bit tricky, because we've now got two different plates to spin. It's not just a concept, it's not just the idea of writing a single song. It's, for the first time, writing a piece of music with the deliberate intention of fitting it inside a bigger whole. And in that regard, I've come to the conclusion that the first part, it's called Riversong, this is going to be track number 1, will have lyrics. The last song on the album, which will be called River's End, won't, and we'll get to that shortly, because I've begun the process of what that's going to turn into. The first thing that I want to do is play you this melody line. This is the only new piece of music, I think. Oh no, there's one extra little guitar bit that I'll play as well. But this thing that's called melody is the reason why there are going to be lyrics, because I played it on the guitar, but it so obviously feels like a vocal line that I thought, right, I'm going to have to write words to it. So that is this. Obviously very rough. But I like this little opening refrain. It's coming again just in a moment. So that's just begging for vocals. We've also got this new line. It's just a little broken chord thing sitting underneath. It sounds really nice. And it fits very well with the original broken chord thing as well. Bring the melody back in. So there we are. That's the reason why there are going to be vocals, because I accidentally played a line that sounded like it needed to have vocals on, and that's pretty much the way I roll. It's kind of a good and bad thing simultaneously. Now, the reason why I've chosen to take vocals out of the last piece of music is because I realised what the last piece of music needed to be. So here's River's End. It looks very similar structurally to Riversong. It's because they have exactly the same fundamental basis. So what I basically did was copied the project, renamed it, moved it to a new folder, so I had the same bass line, rhythm, SEM lines going on underneath. So at the moment this is a very rough draft. This is just the first idea of what I want the piece of music to be, but I want it to be vocalless and basically an outro solo. I haven't done anything as self-indulgent at any point in the writing of the songs that I've written over the past couple of years as to have an entire guitar instrumental piece of music, but this is how I want the album to finish, basically because I was having a jam at which stuff that I was playing just made me really happy, and I thought this is how the album needs to finish. So it's basically going to fade in. There's going to be a crossfade from the previous song, and we'll get into this. So it'll be basically fading up, and then we've just got this. Now all you're seeing here is a stretched out comp. So I basically just played for a few minutes and most of what I did made me really happy. So I thought, this is one of those moments when I've got to capture this and somehow figure out how to polish the diamond. I think there are really good musical motifs in here, and some bad stuff, you know. Like, that's a bit lazy, but I quite like this bit. Kind of a chicken picking thing going down the, I think that's going down the B string on its own. So there are enough good ideas in this single solo for me to find the bits that I liked. I'll probably have a few more goes. In fact, I absolutely, undoubtedly will. I'm just basically going to solo this thing for the next few weeks, coming up with as many melodic ideas as I possibly can to make this the very best instrumental I can. This is how I want the album to finish. I was going to finish the album on a fade out, but accidentally this refrain at the end works. So that's going to be very similar to how it's actually going to finish. It's just one of those happy accidents where everything just seems to work. So now the idea is to sculpt that into something that's polished and decent. At the moment it's very, very rough, but I really love the spirit. I think the energy behind it is great. And now it's all about fitting the album together. I've got the beginning and the end, but the important thing is now to find all of the pieces that fit into it. What's the best song to segue into this? Well, I've already got an idea, and we'll discuss that in the series where I actually talk about the composition of the album itself. But I think this is a huge deal that I'm writing this piece of music. It started out as a jam with that simple E minor 9 into C major 7 thing, that little 2-chord ditty that was a completely accidental, just having a bit of a mess around one day. Suddenly realised that I was enjoying what I was doing. This is how I want my album to start. Then thought, well, hang on a minute, I want the album to end like this as well. And now it's kind of snowballing, and I'm starting to figure out that the next stage is to figure out what all of those pieces in between are. How are the songs all going to fit together? How am I going to tell this story of the songs that I've written over the past couple of years, bring them together to make this continuous whole? So that's a very exciting process. But, you know, this episode I just wanted to talk about the development of the songs, the pieces of music themselves. Hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, please hit like. I'll see you for the next one. Thanks a lot.